What is going on, Arizona sports fan family? How are we doing out here today on this beautiful Tuesday evening? We are all ready for the round table, ladies and gentlemen. We got 36 people in here, and obviously we got the best to represent the Rams, the 49ers, and also the Seattle Seahawks. Let me go ahead and give you a warm welcome here. We got Sheriff Joe with the Rams. We got CG Ruthless Sports with the 49ers. And obviously we got, Steezy, which is a little late, but he's going to come in soon. I promise you guys, he will be here because he's got some explaining to do about his team. And we've talked about it last week. And I'm really excited to dive into this. But everybody, how are you guys doing? How you doing over there, Joe?
Dude, I'm doing amazing, man. Rams sitting at 6-1 had a tough one, man, against the Detroit Lions. They came to play, man. They are competitive, although they are not very good. So as we got out coached and they came to play, we still won by 2 scores. I'll take it. Feeling good.
Doing good. Another terrible performance, but different results. It's like same old Niners offense, same old Jimmy. So until otherwise, but I have better days.
That's fair, man. And honestly, we have some questions to also ask you as well, man, because I know your faithful is very, very truthful to Jimmy G, but it seems like everybody's kind of went the other way. But we'll dive into that a little deeper as we go along. Let's first start off by talking about the last games, what you liked, what you didn't like, basically the good, bad, the ugly, and how you felt about the game. Let's start off with let's bring some positivity to here. Let's start off with the Rams with his hard matchup with the Detroit Lions. Go ahead. How do you feel about it, man?
Yeah, I think going into that game, I think the Rams fans in general, and myself very included, were kind of expecting a blowout there, honestly. I mean, the Detroit Lions, not an awesome football team, came off of a really big loss, and the Rams the explosive offense, all that stuff. But ultimately, man, the Lions came in. They came ready to play. They stole some possessions, did the onside kick, got 2 fake punts on us. So, they definitely came to play. Rams were able to kind of close it out. Goff is going to Goff. And when we got some pressure on him late, he, threw a couple of picks there late in the game. So we kind of knew that was a possibility going into it. But so for the bad on this one, I would say I think that I don't know if the Rams coaching staff was ready for what the Detroit Lions were going to come in and bring. So I'm just glad that we were able to kind of correct that before it was too late and not get jetsed like we did last year. And the good, being able to close out the game. When we needed a big play on defense, Aaron Donald got in Goff's face and forced a pick for Jalen Ramsey. On the offensive side of the football, when we needed a big play, Matthew Stafford hit Cooper Kupp deep. Stars coming in big, man. I love it.
All right, man. All right. Okay, well, let me talk about mine. We're going to start positive, and then obviously we're going to go down to the negatives once Steezy and then CG, we'll allow him to speak. But let me speak about, obviously, Cardinals and Texans right now. Obviously, I think most of us thought that this was going to be a blowout. It kind of started a little rough for us. I'm not going to lie to you. Our offensive line was very much Swiss cheese, and it was getting very frustrating to watch because Kyler Murray was getting mishandled. And there was a time where he got face masked and he got pulled down, and it caused a safety. But the main concern wasn't the safety. It was that he looked like he was really hurt. And he went to the blue tent, and a lot of people were worried, oh, goodness, Kyler Murray is going down with the Texans. This sucks. But he's strong. He came back, got pissed off, and he ended up putting a licking on the Texans. And obviously, after that, the second quarter, we started gelling. And then our offensive line started protecting him a little bit better. There were still some things that were kind of frustrating to see throughout the game, but regardless, the Arizona Cardinals ended up posting another 30-plus point game, which is amazing. And then we only allowed 3 points on defense. And our defense is looking elite as usual. Really excited about this Green Bay Packers game, but we're not going to talk about that yet. But really excited about it, man. Good things about, for the Cardinals and the Rams. CG, let's get a little negative here with your team, man. Against the Colts, it was a wet one. And it looked really, really boring type of game, or I guess you want to call it a defensive type of game. Let me know your good, bad, and the ugly. How do you feel about 49ers and Colts?
What's there to feel good about, man? Okay, on the positive side, we got Deebo Samuel as that go-to guy. He's proven to be the number 1 go-to receiver for sure. Elijah Mitchell, you find a guy in the late round, he's becoming a stud at running back. The defense, Al-Shair is a really stud linebacker so far. I like what I see out of this guy. But on the negative side, offense is still inconsistent, and you still can't move the ball down the field and score more than what you are with your opponents. The Colts got 30 points based by a freaking penalty and capitalized. But what can I say? The offense is a non-existence. It's just like the Seattle Seahawks. They come in the first half. Second half, they disappear just like we are right now. So we're just like Seahawks 2.0 now. Where's the offense?
Oh,
I have
boy.
no clue.
All right. Well, I'm actually happy to say that we actually have some Seahawks fans today. We got 9% Seahawks fans, obviously 76% Cardinals because it's on my channel, 6% 49ers, and 10% Rams. So if you guys haven't voted yet, there is a poll question at the very top. Make sure you sponsor or support your team. Let me get my guy here, Steezy A Smith, that's going to be able to hopefully rebuttal to what we saw on Sunday Night Football. Man, what did we see? Or was it Monday Night Football? I don't even know what was it? Monday night, right?
Man, at this point, I'm just trying to hold out hope until Russ gets back. I didn't expect, for the offense to be this incompetent in Russell Wilson's absence, but I can't say that I'm surprised. I mean, this is Geno Smith. I did have a little bit of confidence in him, but I mean, I guess there's a reason why he didn't start a game since 2017. But it's not entirely his fault. I do got to put some of the blame on Pete Carroll. I mean, for him in the offense to continuously run into a wall, play after play after play after play. I mean, we put Geno in bad positions throughout. Like he wasn't able to really establish any sort of rhythm. And I get it, he is limited in what he can do. So I don't know. I mean, at this point, Jason Myers looks like Blair Walsh from 2017. Can't make a kick to save his life. I know he made one 50-yarder, but last year he was automatic. He made literally every single kick. I thought our defense was I'm not gonna say phenomenal, but our defense definitely held up their end of the bargain. But after that 84-yard pass to DK, Geno Smith had a combined 83 yards in 3 quarters afterwards, and DK Metcalf didn't receive a single target until the 4th quarter. So that's definitely on the coaches and play callers. But yeah, at this point, I'm just waiting for us to get back. I mean, I don't even know if we're locks to beat Jacksonville, seeing as how our offense can't seem to establish anything. I mean, yeah, I don't have too much to add, but
no, that's fair, man. I see
it's
the
rough.
sadness in your voice, and if you just would have listened to us and let us, we would have told you these next 4 games are going to be rough, man. I think Jacksonville, you might have a chance there, but it's going to be a rough stretch for you Seahawks fans out there, man. But I appreciate you for bringing the 12s. I see some people representing you on the chat here, so that's really, really awesome. Guys, just an FYI, if you guys do want to ask a question to a specific person, there is an option for you to super chat. You can definitely do so on there. That's the only way that we're going to be able to see it because we're going to be lost in talking, basically making fun of each other here. So any questions for anybody, man? Joe, do you have a question for, Steezy, CG, Steezy, or anybody, man? It's open up before we talk about the next games.
I have a question for Steezy, and this one has been kind of something that was on my mind as I was watching that game on Monday night. I want to know your thoughts on this next offseason for the Seattle Seahawks. Is there the way that the Seahawks are playing right now and the way that roster looks, the way that everything is kind of set up right now, is this the offseason to maybe try to tear down a little bit? I mean, Russell Wilson kind of already had those conversations that he potentially wants out. Is that something that we could see? Could you maybe see what you could get for a DK Metcalf or a Chris Carson, something like that, and just kind of go ahead and rebuild? I mean, maybe move on from Pete Carroll. What do you think this offseason kind of looks like for the Seahawks?
One thing I can't say for sure is that either one of Pete Carroll or Russell Wilson will be gone. And I can say that definitively. I think I've been on record saying that on this show. I think Russell Wilson gives us a chance. Once Pete Carroll is let go, I think he gives us 1 year to kind of build the team around him, to build the team in his vision. I mean, I know Russ and Pete kind of came to amends to an extent this past offseason, but at the end of the day, I mean, their styles, how they want to play football, how they want to win football games still completely differ from one another. Pete Carroll still wants to run the football. Pete Carroll still wants to win low-scoring games based off of the running game and defense. Russell Wilson wants to cook. He wants to do this. He wants input on this. And so I think if Seattle's to relinquish Pete Carroll of his role as not only the head coach, he's also the president of football operations. And so he has final say over all personnel moves. A lot of people think it's John Schneider who has all the power. No, it's not. It is Pete Carroll. And so I think after the season, no matter how it ends, I think the ownership group, they all have a meeting. Russell Wilson's going to be involved. And I think the conclusion is Pete Carroll, he just got to go. I mean, look, he's been outdated. he's a dinosaur in today's day and age. I mean, he's not willing to adjust. You know, the scheme is the same as it was 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago. He's not willing to make certain calls that I feel like would be beneficial to this team in certain games, especially when it comes to managing the clock, especially when it comes to, you know, going for it on certain fourth downs. There's just a lot of, you know, mistakes that he's making as a coach. There's a lot of mistakes he's making as a GM. Yeah, like I said, I think Russell Wilson's going to have a shot to lead this team, at least build it around his vision for at least 1 year. So I would hold off on trading DK. I know he's going to command a lot of money, but DK is the same age as me. He's 22, 23 years old. And so I know even if we were to go into a rebuilding phase, don't you rebuild with young players? Don't you rebuild with young superstars? And so DK is definitely going to be a guy that I'd want to be around for the long haul. And let's say Seattle does trade Russell Wilson. There's no quarterback talent in this coming draft. So what kind of quarterback is going to come in and step in and play quarterback for the Seattle Seahawks? Jimmy Garoppolo. I mean, look, unless Seattle is getting back like some sort of serviceable starter, which I don't think is likely to happen in any potential deal, I think Russell Wilson has to look at this team and say, look, I mean, I'll give this team 1 more year without Pete. We'll see what happens. But I think Pete got to go. I think his time's up, and I've talked about that numerous amount of times. I've taken some heat for it, namely because a lot of the older generations coming at me saying, oh, you Seahawks fans are so spoiled. You know, Pete Carroll's never had a losing season with Russ at the helm. But come on, yo, what the NFL what have you done for me lately? And the Jacksonville Jaguars, the worst team in football, have more playoff victories since 2017 than Seattle. They have 2 to our 1. And every year the defense has gotten worse. Every year the team has gotten worse. Pete Carroll is supposed to be this defensive guru, and the defense is the worst in league history. I mean, something got to give. And for me, I'm sorry, Pete. You've done a lot for the city. I'll forever appreciate and respect you, but we can't continue to bring out the legacy card and say that he's done this, he's done that, because that's not going to save him in 2021.
All right, that's fair, man. Let me give a big shout out to you here for 49ers Ultimate Report with a $5 donation. Appreciate you. Says John J, a 49ers diehard, wants to show some respect, AZ and Joe, that your team are proving the doubters wrong. But Niners all the way. CG's the real panel on this. I'm not saying any love for the Seahawks. What is it with the 49ers and the Seahawks? CG, can you explain to me why you hate the Seahawks so much?
It's because they got the most suspect defense, and it's because the fact that their fan base disrespect Navarro Bowman. I keep hearing this hate over us. Like, this is like comparing to the internet hate over an actual rival that's just across the bay. But I don't know. It's just, it goes on with these fan base. It goes on for since then. It just seems like what you call a love and hate relationship between each other. Like, for example, me and Steezy could be cool for that week, but it's just all good. You know, it's all respect. You know, There's a difference.
That's fair, man. That's fair. Any other questions for the panel? Any of you guys have any questions? I mean, obviously, you don't want to beat a dead horse, CG, but, you know, the question that we keep talking about, Jimmy G and Trey Lance.
All right. To answer your question, AZ, about Jimmy G?
Yes. It's terrible.
All right, man. Jimmy G, you're on a short leash, dude. You need to beat the Bears. If you don't beat the Bears, then I hate to say this. It's time to pull the plug and put in Trey Lance, because at least with him, you can go through the growing pains and expect this to be a rebuilding season after you put Trey Lance out there. So, Jimmy G, you've been really a disappointment. I don't want to hear excuses. When healthy, you can win games. Oh, when healthy, you're a good quarterback. This is not 2019. This is not 2017 when you played 5 fluky games. Nobody had film on you. So I am so sick and tired of defending you. You need to beat the Bears. Or else I'm going to throw shot fire at you. I'm going to be like your teammate Martellus Bennett did. I'm going to call you this.
Is he really on a short leash, though? Because we've already seen the opportunity for them to move on. We've seen it. We've seen the chance for them to move on, and they chose not to. Is he on a short leash, or is that just you not wanting him to be your quarterback anymore?
It's kind of between Shanahan, but I think a lot of our fan base is getting fed up with him. So realistically, Shanahan is probably going to have to, at some point, give it to Trey Lance. It's a matter of time. He is on a short leash, but it's either the Bears game or the Cardinals game or whatever the up-and-coming games like the Vikings, that's going to determine whether he's going to still be our starter or not. So
what's the leash like on Shanahan?
It's on Shanahan's decision. Yes.
Yeah, but what's the leash look like on Shanahan? Because we've seen historically that he's been able to put together a few good seasons, but overall, if you look at his overall numbers, he's very pedestrian.
Yeah, this season it's kind of been very pedestrian, but in the past years he was able to make the most out of lesser known quarterbacks. Like I'm pretty sure AZ knows who CJ Beathard was or Nick Mullins was. Those were lesser talents, right?
Yeah.
But why can he not do it with Jimmy? This is Jimmy of 2019. He's not the same. He's a broken down Forrest Gump running for his life for his starting job. So I guess if we were comparing the difference, man, Jimmy G, you're just not the guy, bro. You're Forrest. Just keep running, bro. Come on.
Oh, I like that. All right, cool. All right, well, here we go. Let's move on to the next matchups here. Our next weekend, our matchups, and obviously we're going to vote who we think is going to win, all that different stuff. But I know, Joe, over there, you had a tally of the people that are – do you still have the votes? Who's winning?
I don't have them up yet. Like, I don't have them all added together.
Oh, like tallied? Okay,
yeah.
No worries. All right, well, let's start off
I have 2 more weeks to go back on to actually get our picks, so they wouldn't be accurate anyway.
Okay, no problem. That's fine. All right, well, let's talk about next week's games. We have a lot of hopefully good games coming our way. Let's start off with the Rams, man. The Rams have let's see here. Let me. Who do you guys have, Rams?
Houston.
Oh my God, the hardest
Cakewalk.
team in the world. Oh my God, how are you gonna feel like that game's gonna go down?
You know what? I hate to say that this is a game that we just kind of overlook. I mean, this is like the perfect trap game situation though, because next week we do have the Titans coming to town on Sunday Night Football, and then after that on the road at the San Francisco 49ers on Monday Night Football. So back-to-back primetime after this one, which is just an early kickoff in Houston. Ultimately, I mean, this game should be a Rams win. I don't think we do anything too special in this game. I don't know really what to expect out of the Houston Texans. This is only the 5th time we've ever played them. We've only lost to them once. So, obviously, the Texans are having a little bit of a rough time right now. I am not a fan of the fact we just got rid of our best inside linebacker on the season. I think that this is a game where we can kind of test out to see how big of an impact that can be. I just don't like doing that 2 weeks ahead of a game where you have Derrick Henry coming to town. But overall, I mean, I think the Rams win this one. I don't think it's very close, but I also don't think it's very exciting. I don't think that the Rams are going to come out here and be doing double reverses and all these crazy things. I think we're just going to play some good, strong football and probably win by 17 or so.
Yeah, that's fair. Let's go with CG next. How do you think this is going to be Rams versus Texans?
Man. Is this even a question? Like, when I look at the Rams, yeah, they did play a trap game with the Lions. But the Texans, they're a little bit worse than the Detroit Lions, even though the record they did won 1 game, but that's the Jacksonville Jaguars. I think the Rams are going to have to wake up on this game. Maybe it won't be like a blowout like the time I did predicted it. Maybe it's more like I'll put it like 31 to maybe 13. Because I think the Rams are going to play a little bit better this time, but it's not going to be exactly the finish that the Rams are expecting, but they're going to get the W. So it's not how you finish. I mean, it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
This is going to be a less emotional game than last week, for sure.
Definitely.
Oh, true. That's true. Yeah. All right, Steezy, you're up.
You know, I will say this. I think if Tyrod Taylor plays, because he's returning to practice, he is designated to return from IR. He hasn't played since week 2 when they lost to the Cleveland Browns. If he does play this game will be a lot more competitive and a lot closer than people think, because with him in the lineup, I feel like the rest of the team just feeds off of him. You know, he's a vet. He's been in the league for a while. He's underrated as a mobile threat, and he's pretty accurate as a quarterback. I'm not saying he's a world beater by any means, but he's definitely going to make this team a lot more competitive if he were to play. But as it stands right now, I don't think he's going to play. So that being said, I mean, look, it's going to be a blowout. They probably won't win by 20. They probably won't win by 17, but they'll win by at least 10, maybe 13. The Texans are just completely bare at the talent whatsoever. Davis Mills, my gosh, he's been absolutely atrocious. I think we all know who Nathan Peterman is, right? Well, Davis Mills, he's coming close to Nathan Peterman territory. He did have that one great game against the New England Patriots, but other than that, he's been absolutely awful. I know the rest of the team isn't really helping him, but man, he doesn't look like the guy that was rated number 1 coming out of high school back in 2017. That's all I'll say. But the Rams, like I said, it'll be a cakewalk.
I agree, man. I think regardless of Tyrod Taylor or Tyrod Taylor, however you say his name, plays or not, the Rams is going to get this. It's going to be like 35-3 or something like that. I've seen it firsthand, man. Their defensive line, like if they really want to, they can turn it up and they can cause pressure. But there's just so many things going wrong with that organization, with the drama, with Deshaun Watson, with just, I don't even think they have an identity, man. I've seen David Johnson when he was with us, man. Seeing him over there is just a shell of what he used to be. And there's just no light in any of these players' eyes right now, man. They know that this is a losing season. They know that JJ Watt, DeAndre Hopkins went over to the Cardinals, and obviously we're having success. And I just think it's draining on them, man. So obviously I'll go Rams. There's no anything else to say about that, but
yeah, defense is rough in Houston, man.
True. All right, let's move on to the next game here. Let's move on to let's go CG. CG, you got the Bears coming up here, and if you can give me a little insight who you think or who you want to play, Jimmy or Trey, in this game, or if you have a little insight who's going to play, but how do you think this game is going to shake out?
All right. The preview of the game, I think it's going to come down to who wants it more, and both teams are playing terrible. So I got a feeling that this is a game where we snap our 4-game losing streak. For once, I feel a little confident that I did the previous weeks. The previous weeks of how I felt. I think the Bears' defense is only their best strength. Their offense doesn't really scare me as much. Like I feel like we can be able to run the ball good. I feel like Debo is going to do something, and then the fact our offense is going to be able to get it together. This is part of the bounce back game that Jimmy needs is against the Bears. So I got this score going to 28-24. It's going to come a little closer. Both teams are not that good, so that's how I see it.
All right, let's go with CG. So we got Niners and Bears.
CG just went.
Oh wow, Steezy. My goodness, sorry.
Yeah, I like to think that these two teams are similarly built. They both have, if Trey Lance is in the lineup, they both have young quarterbacks. They both have teams that rely more so on their defense than their offense. They both have what are supposed to be offensive masterminds. Matt Nagy, I mean, obviously is the furthest thing from it, but that was a perception revolving around his name. Kyle Shanahan, I'm starting to have some second thoughts. I mean, we all thought Kyle Shanahan was this wizard of offense, this wizard of, how teams want to run different offenses in the NFL. But, I mean, look, if they end up having a losing season this year, that'll be 5 losing seasons out of 6. I could be mistaken on the years and whatnot, but point being, Kyle Shanahan just hasn't been able to deliver. And so this game is going to be very important. I know right now Seattle's last in the NFC West, but San Fran did just have a bye, and so that's kind of their saving grace right now. But as far as how I feel like the game is going to turn out, I think San Fran wins this one. I just think that with Chicago, I mean, there's just no semblance of offense whatsoever. They put up a putrid 3 points against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week. Just absolutely showed no resistance at all. Matt Nagy has been diagnosed with COVID, so he's probably going to miss this game. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I guess we'll find out. But that Chicago Bears offense just looks so awful. They can't generate any sort of points. They can't seem to generate any sort of yards. They can't move the ball. I mean, I just think that with San Fran, maybe Kyle Shanahan starts to feel the seat getting warmer under him. So I think he's going to coach his butt off. I think the rest of the guys know what's at stake. And I just think they're more talented. So I think San Fran comes out on top in a low-scoring affair. I'm going to say San Fran wins 21 to Chicago. Let's say 10.
10. All right. I guess I'll go next, and then we'll have Joe right after me. So for me, I didn't know that whole Matt Nagy thing, so that kind of plays a big part, I guess, to who I'm going to pick here. But this is going to be the situation, man, where it's a tough one because we've seen the Bears get demolished by the Bucks, man. They got spanked, and then we saw the 49ers with the Colts, but we can blame that on the rain. I do think that both teams are coming back for a bounce back. Like they have to, like both teams have to. So I'm going to have to give the edge over to the 49ers and not by a lot. It's going to be like a 17-13 type of game because it's just going to be that low scoring. It's not going to be that crazy. So I will say 49ers win over the Bears just because of how bad they got destroyed. in the Bucs. So go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, before I talk about the game, I just wanted to mention real fast that I'm really glad that the entire rest of the world now knows what a bomb cyclone is. Colorado had one just a couple years ago, but it was with snow, and it was really fun. So I'm glad that the rest of the world got to see what that is like, at least from a rain perspective. But for this game, I really do think that Shanahan's a little bit of a fraud. I think that he gets pumped up a lot more than he needs to be. I don't think he's necessarily a bad coach. I just think that the hype is unwarranted. I think that he gets talked about in these conversations with guys like, I'll just say Sean McVay, but like he gets thrown into those conversations, and I'm just like Steezy said, I mean, it's not consistent enough for me to say that he should be in those conversations. Overall, the 49ers are definitely a more talented roster than the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears aren't even putting up 125 passing yards a game. They're below that. That is an absolute joke in this NFL. And, 14.4 points per game is what the Chicago Bears are putting up. That's also an absolute joke. That offense is bad. And Justin Fields, he's over there on the sideline crying and stuff like that. It's not going to be good for the Bears. It's also not going to be good for the Niners. I think it's going to be like a 13-6 game. I'm going to give it to the Niners reluctantly because I don't really see either of these teams being able to take control of this game and manage it the way they want to.
All right. Well, that's it. All Niners all the way through. Let's go ahead and start off with my game here right after that. And then obviously we'll go to Steezy's because we all have a lot to talk about with that one here. So let's go Cardinals versus the Packers. Thursday Night Football, 2 days away. Very excited. Our very first primetime game. And I'm extremely excited to hear about it. Now, if you guys didn't already hear, we have a thread amongst each other. And, the moment that I told my fellow, peeps here that, Adam Lazard might not be playing anymore because of, COVID, and as well as Devontae Adams most likely might be out as well. I don't think this is going to be a cakewalk. I think anytime we have Aaron Rodgers there, he's going to make any wide receiver look very, very good. Maybe not dominant, maybe not like to the extent of Devontae Adams, but I do think he's going to be in this game. They still have Aaron Jones. They still have A.J. Dillon. They might be able to muster something up to really kind of make them, in this game. They'll put points up on our Arizona Cardinals, but I don't think it's going to be as close as people think. I think it's going to be something where we might see another kind of Rams situation where, we think it's going to be a high-scoring game, or a Brown situation where we think it's a high-scoring game and it really isn't. So I think it's going to be 35-17. Arizona Cardinals win, and I do think the biggest reason as to why is because their wide receivers core right now is completely depleted, and we're limiting them to A-Rod doing his magic as well as their run game, and that's not a really good mix with our elite defense. So I say my Cardinals there, 35-17. Let's go with Joe, and then we'll go to CG and then Steezy.
So one thing, you mentioned Devontae Adams and Lazard being out, but most likely, I don't think that they've officially been ruled out. I think it's possible it was just kind of close contact because they don't really tell us much anymore. But word is that Joe Barry, defensive coordinator of the Green Bay Packers, did test positive. So it looks like they'll be out their defensive coordinator. I've said it before. I think it was just last week that I'm not picking against the Arizona Cardinals until they show me that they are even capable of losing. So I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals in this one, but I do think it's going to be a very good game. I'm really excited to watch this one. As a fan of football, I'm really excited to see this game. You got an awesome offense in the Arizona Cardinals and awesome defense too with the Arizona Cardinals going against Aaron Rodgers, who can make anything happen at any time. So and Bakhtiari comes back. I think that is a big addition for the Packers. I'm just not sure if he's going to be ready to go right now kind of thing, but I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals. If I got to give a score prediction, I'm going to go 38-24 Cardinals.
Love it. All right, CG, you're up. You're in the dark. Let me know how you feel.
Sorry, real quick, Joe, is Bakhtiari slated to come off of IR this week? Like, has that been announced?
Correct.
Okay, gotcha. That might impact my predictions a little bit more. Thank you.
Oh, brother,
sorry, CG.
Here we go. All right, no worries, CG, you're up.
All right. Man. Looking at how the Cardinals played against the Browns, I kind of see a little similarity with the Packers. Their defense is trash. If Arizona just does the blueprint, just run the ball right down their throats, I can see it more of a statement win, kind of like what the Saints did, where they did it to Green Bay. I think you guys might be able to do the same thing. Don't be surprised if you guys scored 31 points and they only scored 10 for some reason. I think you guys are going to make a strong statement in this week.
All right, perfect. Appreciate it, man. All right, now we got Steezy. What's Steezy got to say?
I was just trying to stir up the pot a little bit. Nah, that's not going to impact my projections whatsoever. But before I get into what I'm about to say, if you guys were watching Monday Night Football last night, I don't know if you guys caught it, but Booger McFarland, after the game, they asked him about his thoughts about this upcoming Thursday Night Football match between the Cardinals and the Packers. And I forgot who it was, but they asked him, is this a statement game for the Cardinals? And I thought he put it together beautifully. He said, this isn't a statement game. This is a perception game. And I think what he means by that is, look, we all know the Cardinals are good. I mean, they've had multiple statement victories already, namely against Joe's Rams. They've come into Cleveland into a hostile environment. They took care of Cleveland without their head coach, without their best pass rusher, without certain guys in and out of the lineup. And the fact that they're the only unbeaten team in the NFL at this point in the season, yeah, this definitely isn't a statement game, definitely a perception game. I think if Arizona is to come away with the victory here, I mean, they should be looked at, if they're not already, as clearly the most dominant and the best team in the NFL until said otherwise, or until proven otherwise. And so all those things being said, if Devontae was playing, then I might be leaning towards Green Bay, but because he's not and because he is that Packers offense, I just don't see Green Bay mustering enough points to be able to keep up with Arizona. I mean, CG said it. I'm not going to say the Packers defense is trash, but they're not very good, especially now without their best corner in Jair Alexander. They're still kind of acclimating a couple of the new guys, namely Whitney Merciless and Jalen Smith, but it's not like they're going to put up too much of an impact in this one. And then traveling to Arizona on a short week, typically that favors the home team. And so all those things put together, I got to go with Arizona again. I mean, aside from Buffalo, I think that they're the most complete team of football. So they'll show that here. Not in a statement game, but in a perception game. And I think they come away with the victory, 31 to Green Bay, 21.
Appreciate it. Wow. Joe and Steezy giving some love to the Cardinals. Love it. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. All right, let's move on to the next. We got Steezy coming up, right? We got Steezy coming up here with the Jacksonville Jaguars, man. Let's see how you feel about that. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I hope for a W. I mean, this entire time, I've been, uplifting Seattle. I've been talking about my confidence in Geno and, the defense stepping up and this and that. And every single time, I mean, I end up looking like a fool. And not only that, I'm over here placing bets on Seattle, and every single bet that I place on Seattle, I've lost. So I'm going to refrain from the betting this week, but I'm still going to say Seattle. This game is at home, and Seattle has still yet to win a home game this season, and that hasn't happened since 1992. And I do hope it does happen this week against Jacksonville. But like I said at the beginning of the show, I can't definitively say with 100% confidence that Seattle is going to win this game just because of the incompetence of Geno Smith and the offense and the play calling. But I think the saving grace could be the defense. In the last couple of games, the defense has stepped up tremendously. They've come up with key takeaways and key points of the game. But the Seattle offense is just unable to muster anything. But thankfully, they are going up against a terrible and a horrible Jacksonville Jaguars team. Trevor Lawrence has been turning the football over at an alarming rate this season. He doesn't have very many playmakers to work with, and that defense is most definitely a work in progress. You could say Seattle's defense is bad, but Jacksonville's defense is that much worse. I'm not very confident saying this, but I'm going to say Seattle comes out on top. I'm going to say 24 to Jacksonville, 17.
Wow. Okay. All right. I'll go next, and we got Joe, and then we'll do CG right after. So I'll go next. I've said these next 4 games are going to be very crucial for you guys. When it comes down to it, I said that those first 2 ones are going to be losses. This Jacksonville might be a win. And then your next one, Packers, is going to be a loss. And then hopefully you pray to, football gods that you're going to have Russell Wilson come back because you guys need him. So do I still think Jacksonville Jaguars are going to lose against you guys? No, I honestly think the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to pull this off, ladies and gentlemen. I think Jacksonville is going to surprise us all. And instead of them going 1-3 in this 4-game stretch, they're going to go 0-4. And the reason for that is because I've seen what, the Jacksonville Jaguars can do. I mean, it was the first half. I think the Arizona Cardinals were playing down to their competition, but I've seen a light at the end of the tunnel. They got James Robinson. I feel like he's a very good running back. Trevor Lawrence, and yes, he's not having the best of seasons, but he's getting better and better as the year goes along, and he's looking for that number 2 win, and I do think he's going to get it on your struggling Seattle Seahawks. So I say Jacksonville Jaguars. Sorry, 12's out there.
Yeah, so when a Seahawks fan is discussing a home game against the Jacksonville Jaguars and starts it with, well, I hope we win, that destroys any confidence that I had. The Seahawks haven't won a game at home yet. They're playing some pretty rough ball, especially on offense. Pete Carroll is super outdated. I'm going to go with the Jacksonville Jaguars in this one just because I want to get the game right. No. I want to get the pick correct. So I'm going to go. And, gosh, that is such a wild thing for me to take a game against the Seahawks when they're playing at home against a team who's only won one game and has been getting smoked. And I don't know, that is so tough. But these Seahawks, I think, are in a little bit of trouble right now. I think that there is some chaos brewing in Seattle, and that's why I presented the question earlier. Is it time to tear down? Because I do think it's a little bit of a mess right now. And the last thing that I'll say on it is I'm really sad that the whole Urban Meyer storyline has basically disappeared. I was really into that. I was having a lot of fun with that storyline. So I'm sad to see that one go. Hopefully something happens again and we can talk about Urban again. Freaking Gruden, man, had to ruin it. So he took the spotlight away. But sure. I am going to go with the Jags in this one. I think it'll be a pretty close game. I think it'll be similar to what we saw on Monday Night Football against the Saints. I'm going to say 17-13 Jags.
All right, there you go. CG, man, you're up.
Okay, and Steezy's dark term. Do you guys got any W's? I'm gonna pull a Wiggum and see what happens, bro. But lucky for you, it's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Unfortunately, can Geno play better? I think it's gonna happen. I think Seattle's gonna win. So just for the lucky day for you, man, you're gonna get a W for this week. But the next after your bye, you might get lucky, man. So I'm gonna go with the Seattle Seahawks, 16-13. I don't know. I'm not convinced with Jacksonville. They are a very young team, very inconsistent. Just because you beat the Miami Dolphins, I'm just not sure if they're any better than Seattle, even without Russell Wilson. Like seriously, like
great point.
I'm just not sure about that team. So I think Seattle's going to capitalize some turnovers. They're going to be able to manage the game. Geno doesn't have to do a lot. He just has to manage. So yeah, you know what? I got Seattle winning this game. Unfortunately.
Let's go,
That's
CG.
Fair. That's fair. I mean, honestly, I think the Jaguars have done it a lot better than we all think. I mean, they've against the Bengals, they were 24-21. They lost against them. I don't know. I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. So I honestly do think this is going to be make or break for the Seattle Seahawks because they can't go 0-4 down the stretch. So we've made our picks, ladies and gentlemen. This is the time where we have any questions. We can open it up to the chat. We can open it up to ourselves. CG, if you need to go, I respect your time. Let me know either on the chat or you can let us know here. But let's open up the conversation. Oh, we got a super chat, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go. Oh, whoa. Is this real? Is this real?
Wait, is that real?
Is this real? Did we just get breaking news? Let me look it up.
Oh, no way.
Did I find out this news by a super chat?
Ladies and gentlemen, I think he's right.
Oh.
Wait. Reports Houston Chronicles report.
We're all looking for it now. Hey, I just want it to be.
So he's going to Miami.
I want to tell Jordan, first of all, thank you for passing this along. And also, none of us trusted you at all because we all immediately went to our phones.
Right, exactly. We're like, appreciate the super chat, but let me check. Let me just double check. Whoa. Thanks, Jordan P. Thanks a lot for the super chat. I still can't find anything. Are you guys finding anything?
Yeah, it says trade compensation is they've agreed upon it on CBS Sports, but owner Stephen Ross, he wants Watson's legal issues to be resolved before the trade deadline. And so the only way for that to happen
that's quick.
The only way for that to happen is if Watson because then he'd be conceding defeat per se. And that would mean that he's essentially guilty and that he's, forced into 22 different settlements. But the trade packages has been agreed upon. So
yeah, this tweet here, I'll read this tweet from by the way, peace out, CG. See you later, man.
All right, CG.
All right, take it easy, man. It's all right, bro.
Later.
This tweet here from Barry Jackson says Houston Chronicle reports Dolphins and Texans have agreed on trade terms for Watson, but the Dolphins want legal issues resolved before consummating deal. Good luck with that is in parentheses. Chronicle suggests Ross wants clarity from Goodell on length of potential suspension, and also in parentheses, good luck with that. So I'll be honest, I don't think that sounds like anything's happening because he's not even scheduled to be in anything until what, February after the season?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's tough. Wow.
I don't think that means anything. I don't know. I don't even know if that's news. Like, I feel like that's what we already knew. Is it like the Dolphins wanted him, but they wanted to know what was going to happen with his legal stuff?
True. Wow. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, well, let's keep it to NFC West. That's very interesting. I'm actually very, very excited to see what happens there. But Steezy, man, do you have any updates on Russell Wilson, man? Obviously, he's your Iron Man. He usually comes really, really quick. You think it's going to be that 4 weeks, or you think it's going to be longer?
No, I actually think he comes back. Earlier, you talked about how we're automatically going to lose that game against the Packers because you're assuming that Russell Wilson isn't going to be back. But I think Russell Wilson will be back after the bye. There's a report that next week, or I think it's as soon as this week, he's going to have like a rod removed or whatever it is. He's going to have a pin removed from his finger. And they're saying that that's very encouraging news. They're saying that that's very good news. And also saying that he's ahead of schedule. And we all know what type of quarterback he is. Like you said, he's an Iron Man. He is one of the, he's as tough as nails. He's one of the most competitive, most fierce guys out there. And as long as, everything's going well in rehab, I mean, I think he can come back early. He knows that Seattle season is on the brink of going nowhere. It's going nowhere fast. And he knows that he's probably the only one that can save it if there's any saving to do. So I think he comes back against Green Bay. And I'm not going to say that we're going to win that game just because he comes back, but I think we definitely see him a lot earlier than, initially expected.
Wow. Okay. All right.
Who right now would be the last wild card team?
In the NFC?
Yeah. Because how far? I know the Rams right now would be sitting at the 5 seed.
Yep.
And that's just because we're below Arizona.
Right.
Would it be the Saints?
Let's double check right now.
I'm just curious to see how far out Seattle is from that to like if it is like if it's worth rushing him back potentially before he's actually good. Do you want to risk anything? I mean, that's a tough one though, because if you don't and you continue to lose with Geno, I mean, is that a bigger risk than having a hurt Russ out there? It's just
true.
It's a difficult decision.
You're totally on point. You're totally on point, Joe. But I do just want to add. So there's 7 playoff spots, right? There's only 5 teams in the NFC with 5 or more wins, and so that leaves 2 open. And Seattle would have to compete with San Fran, who they already have a head-to-head tiebreaker over. I know this will be difficult, but they'd have to compete with Minnesota and New Orleans, who both own tiebreakers over Seattle. But down the stretch, if we're being real, a healthy Seahawks team with the Russell Wilson, I mean, I think most people will take them over, the Saints and the Vikings. And so the only real competition is going to come from those 2 teams.
I mean, yeah, you make a good point there with those other teams because, I mean, I think it's pretty clear that the Saints are going to be one of those teams that are kind of searching for a quarterback after the season. And we know Kirk Cousins, I mean, if it's a big game, he's not there, So, Russ shows up big time. And that's kind of interesting because if the Seahawks can sneak into the postseason and kind of correct the current course that they're on, I mean, they are a team that you got to watch for because of Russ. Russ is that good, and I think we're all seeing that right now. And I'll be honest, Steezy, I think that you're kind of seeing this right now is how big of an impact that Russ actually is having because you're pretty confident in Geno, man, but Russ has been – I said it earlier. I said it a couple weeks ago. Russ has been carrying that team for years.
Right. Mm-hmm. Here it is. This is the standings right now as we're looking at the 7 seeds right now. Obviously, the Cardinals there. We've got Bucks, Packers, Cowboys, and then we got the Rams at 5, Saints, and then the Vikings. That's what we're standing at right now.
Oh, Falcons in there. That's interesting. I don't think that they'll be in the conversation come like week 14 or anything, but that's kind of interesting if they're sitting first out.
Right.
Huh.
Oh boy, here we go again.
Yeah.
Oh boy, here we go again. Cup is the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL. Prove me wrong. Dominic, appreciate the super chat, man. Yeah. Nah, bro.
Go ahead, guys. Prove them wrong.
Well, honestly, I think we're going based off of stats. And honestly, when it comes down to it, the way our offense works here, we feed everybody. We don't have one person because if that's the case, DeAndre Hopkins would easily have over 800, 700 yards right now, like in my personal opinion. Like he would be going crazy. He's got 7 touchdowns right now, DeAndre Hopkins has. But well,
you know who has more?
Maybe 600. Maybe 600.
You know who has more?
Cool.
Cup.
How much do you have?
9.
9?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't know, man. He's a good wide receiver. I'm not saying he's not good. I do think that he's definitely putting some stats up this week. And I say if you have him on fantasy, then hey, man, you did a very good job in picking him up. But to say he's the best in the NFL right now is, I don't know. It's kind of like flavor of the year for me. Like he's doing very good, but let me see it on a consistent basis, and then we'll talk.
I mean, I would say that through 7 weeks is a consistent basis myself, but hey, maybe not. Yeah, I think a big part of it for fans outside of the Rams on Cooper Kupp is that he's not built like that true number one receiver. And so I think people struggle with that. But when you see the impact that he has on the Rams offense, I think it's very, very real. And I think that there is an argument to be made that he is the best wide receiver in the NFL today. And that's a big part of it, though, is the fact, like, what he brings to the Rams offense, because he can be all over the place. He can run the football. He can be over the middle. He can be outside. And there are definitely some incredible receivers. I mean, we could go off the list just on our teams. I mean, Hopkins, DK Metcalf, even for the 49ers, Debo. And then you got other guys in the NFL, Mike Evans, Devontae Adams, guys like that. But, yeah, I think that that's really it, is that he's not built like those guys, so he's not in the conversation with them.
So I feel like we had this conversation last week.
We did.
We did. I will say that Cooper Kupp is having the best season in the NFL amongst wide receivers this year. I will say that he's the best wide receiver this year. But the way I look at it, when you ask who's the best wide receiver in the NFL, that's a different question than who's having the best season. And I just feel like,
True.
Joe, you made some valid points. But, I mean, come on, Devontae Adams on his best day or Cooper Kupp on his best day?
If
you're asking me, I'm going Devontae Adams. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but I'll say a big part of that is because Cooper Kupp has missed all of the Rams' biggest games. He's been hurt for all of the Rams' biggest games.
Right. Look, I will say this, though. Cooper Kupp, even if you don't take this season into account, actually, no, you got to. But I'm going to say this. Cooper Kupp is a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, with or without the season. But to say that he's the best wide receiver in the NFL, I think that'd be disrespectful towards guys like Tyreek, Devontae. Yeah, but this season, no doubt, he's having the best year amongst wide receivers, and it's not even close.
Yeah, I remember talking about it early on because I'll comment on Jordan's comment here in a second, but it's once we heard that Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp were working together that much in the offseason, I even said it on Ram Showcase that I think this was good. We were going to see the best Cooper Kupp season of Cooper Kupp's career so far. And that is definitely holding true. And he's already almost at his career highs. And we're only going into week 8, But as far as Jordan's comment here, Kupp can't win one-on-one against elite corners. I'm not sure what that references to because he has been. Jordan, do you have any examples of maybe a top elite corner that Kupp was not able to produce on this year? Because, I
think they're referring to the Cardinals-Rams game. Let's take a look to see what he had on that Rams game. Oh, he was at 5 receptions, 64 yards. That was definitely his worst game.
On 13 targets.
Yeah, they were. But that was, credit to the Arizona Cardinals defense on that one, man. They knew that we wanted to go to Kupp, and they just said no. They were like, no, you're not gonna do what everybody else is allowing you to do, which is just throw to Cooper Kupp all day long. And we just didn't adjust for that in time because Rams do have other weapons to go to. Robert Woods is, in my opinion, extremely similar talent-wise to Cooper Kupp. I just think that Cooper Kupp is utilized very different in the Rams offense.
Right. I think you have a lot of good wide receivers. I'm actually really excited about the second matchup, honestly. I didn't even know it was primetime game until last week. I'm like, oh, snap, we have a primetime game against the Rams again. That's going to be good, man. That's going to be good. And then all these people in the chat saying, we're a fluke. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. But I'm excited about it, man.
That one's going to be really fun. Rams actually have prime time against every NFC West opponent. We already saw it with the Seattle Seahawks on Thursday Night Football. 3 weeks from now, we've got the 49ers on Monday Night Football, and then later on, that one's Monday night too, I believe, right? Like Cardinals, Rams?
Yes, Monday. Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah. So 2 Monday night games coming up for division. Yeah, man, that's gonna be a fun one. I'm excited for that one because I was talking about on a little Ram Showcase pregame thing here was that obviously the Cardinals played one hell of a game in LA. They came ready to play that game, especially after losing 8 straight to the Rams. But that was also, like, from the Rams' perspective, that was our worst performance of the year. you got to credit the Arizona Cardinals for forcing that on the Rams, because that doesn't just happen, so you got to credit there. But that was definitely our worst performance. So I feel like a Sean McVay team is going to want to go into that Monday night game against the Arizona Cardinals and show that game, the early game in the season, was that week 4, that was not who we are, kind of thing, and that we can compete a little bit better with the Arizona Cardinals, who, in fairness, one hell of a team this year. If they represented the NFC in the Super Bowl, I don't think that would blow any minds.
Right. I mean, you guys are 6-1 too. It's not like you're definitely a team that, you've done very, very good things. Obviously, we always just kind of like to give each other some crap, everybody. 'Cause we're all in the same division. Yeah. So whenever we see anybody get low score, we got to put those googly eyes and be like, hey, what's going on? But yeah, I mean, honestly, you guys are
we
very,
really
very
going to hype up everybody else's team?
What's up?
No. Screw this. I'm not hyping up your guys' team anymore, all right? No. We just went back and forth hyping up your team.
They're done, man. They're in the dungeon. Like my title said, is a 2-team race. The other 2 teams, are they in rebuilding mode? ? I have a question for you, man. Honestly, you said DK Metcalf. Is his contract coming up, and is he really like in thoughts of not coming back, or was it more of a trade talk? Steezy, sorry.
No, so I think that was just something that Joe brought up as a idea. If a rebuild was to come, then
Gotcha.
You know how usually when rebuilds occur, you just ship out all the guys. But in my estimation, I don't think that's I don't think there's too much substance there. It's just like I said, an idea. And whether or not Seattle leads, decides to lean in this direction or another, I think DK should definitely be there for the ride. Like I said, he's my age, 22, 23, and he's a generational talent, or at least he has a talent of a generational type of guy. And so you just don't let go of guys like that. Even if you have to pony up the money, I mean, you just don't do that. That'd be organizational malpractice, with or without Russell Wilson. So he's extension eligible. His contract doesn't run now. He's extension eligible this coming off season. But even if he wants to sign one, he'd still have another year left, which would be that.
Gotcha.
Oh, no. Excuse me. He doesn't even have a 5th round or a 5th-year option because he wasn't a first-round pick. So, yeah, he has one more year on his contract. My bad. I keep forgetting that he wasn't a first-round pick. He was a second-round pick. And so, second-rounders only have 4 years.
I have a 2-parter on that, like the trade potential that I made up. First of all, I don't remember the details. What did the Falcons get for Julio Jones?
A 2nd and a 5th.
Oh, that's right. It was a little lower. Okay. So if whatever was offered for Julio, if that was offered to, say, you were in control of the trade, would you take that for DK?
A 2nd and a 5th?
Yeah.
No. I'm gonna need a.
I thought in my brain there was a 1 involved.
Type package.
Yeah, in my brain there was a 1 involved in the Julio trade. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because the Rams always send 1s out.
So no, the Falcons wanted a 1, but obviously that didn't end up coming to fruition because of Julio's salary. But to answer your question, I'm gonna have to go with no. Don't want to go there. It has to be for Stephon Diggs type package. Oh,
I don't know what happened. What's up?
Sorry, internet issue. My bad, y'all. Sorry, keep talking.
No, like I was saying, it'd have to be for Stephon Diggs type package. I mean, look, Stephon Diggs, he got traded for a 1st rounder, a 4th rounder, a 5th rounder, and I think a 7th rounder. And so I'd have to at least see a 1st rounder there for me to even open my eyes. But if a 1st rounder wasn't involved, I'm not.
That would make more sense. If a 1 was involved, I think that the conversation would have to happen. But also, I mean, from just the perspective of Rams fans, 1st-round picks are not as valuable as people think. And especially if you're a good team and getting rid of your ones to be a playoff team, and those picks are sitting at 25, 26, that's not that valuable. I think that the real value in the 1st-round picks is anywhere from like 1 to 12. After that, it's basically a 2 at that point,
Literally.
Exactly. All right, man. Any other questions? Anybody have anything else open? We'll stick around for about 5 more minutes if you want. If not, respective of your guys' time, we can end the stream right here. It's up to you guys if you have any questions.
Actually, I have a little one for Mike.
What's up?
If Devontae and Lazard were playing, I mean, I know you're a Cardinals guy, so you might still side with the Cards, but would you be a little bit more scared?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm still worried about this game, regardless. I do think that obviously with Aaron Rodgers and Aaron Jones and, the pieces that they have, I still think they're going to put up a good fight against us. But even with them, I do think it'll be a closer game. So then I would have said like 35-32. at that point. I still think the Cardinals are going to, I'm not going to say undefeated. We'll see. We'll see when it comes out of this round. I might. But I do think we would have beat them still. And the thing that separates us, I honestly think that their offense is equal to our offense. Like, they have the pieces, we have the pieces. The thing that separates us from them is our defense. Our defense is going to be able to make those 1 or 2 key pieces, or those 2 stops that's going to be able to like turn the game around. So that's what I think. I honestly think our defense doesn't really get a lot of credit. And the moment that Zaven Collins comes in, which is the rookie that we ended up getting 16th overall, I think he's going to be a bigger impact, but we most likely will see him a lot more next year because Jordan Hicks is doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, as a football fan, like I said that earlier, as a football fan, I'm really excited to see this game. But also as a football fan, every time I hear another Green Bay Packers name go down on this game, it's like I really wanted to see them both at like full capacity go at it, because that's a playoff preview right there that we're looking at. And to not have Adams, to not have Lazard, to not even have your defensive coordinator, and I know that the coaches, I mean, we've seen already this season that your coach being down is not your Achilles heel. You know, you can still pull off a win if your coach is on the COVID list or something. But yeah, I'm just a little bit bummed out to see it.
Right. And I got the super chat from Braden here. It says, I know it sounds crazy, but can the Cards go 17-0? Honestly, looking at the schedule, I always think that the divisions are always going to be tough, man. The Rams, we have the Seahawks twice, and we got the 49ers. They're always going to put us a good fight. Maybe not 17-0, but my original prediction was 10 wins, but I can definitely see us be more of a 13-14 type of a team now. I don't want to jinx it and say 17-0, but we'll see. What do you say, Joe?
I think that the Cardinals will definitely – I think your 13 is maybe low. I would say the way that the Cardinals are playing right now, I think that they're a 15-win team. I think that makes sense. I think that they're a 1 seed. I don't know if there's another team in the NFL that's going to catch them, and it's not like they're only like there's a lot of teams only 1 game behind Arizona, but I think that they're definitely on a roll right now, and I think that if they can get to 15-2, I think that the other teams, the Rams, the Bucks, the Packers, I think that they're all losing 3 or 4. So I think that the Cardinals will win quite a few more games. I don't know if 17-0 is going to make sense, though, because I think a big part of that for me is the fact that there is going to be a game with the Cardinals come in and they're just not able to get it going. Like you saw it against the Houston Texans early on. It was, down 5-0, and I realized 5-0 is not a big deal in the NFL, especially when Kyler Murray's your quarterback. But like, what if that continues on and you struggle to bust out of that little slump that you start a game with? And I think that'll happen to the Cardinals at some point.
Yeah, no, that's completely fair here. What do you think, Steezy?
I think the Cardinals are definitely capable, but seeing as how, you guys we all play in the toughest division in all the NFL, the NFC West. It's hard for me to see the Cardinals going 6-0, against the Rams, the Niners, and the Seahawks throughout the course of the season. There's still tough games looming for you guys. The Cowboys at the end of the season in Dallas, that'll be tough. Actually, that's probably the toughest game, aside from the one against the Rams that you guys are hosting. But, but point being, this division is way too tough for, any team to kind of just emerge, 6-0 or undefeated.
Right.
And like Joe said, there probably will come a week in which you guys are just, I don't know. Maybe you guys are looking ahead and, you overlook an opponent or you play down to competition. The Jacksonville Jaguars can attest. A lot of crazy things can happen, but you guys are definitely capable. But seeing as how you play in such a tough division, I don't see it happening.
Yeah, and there's a few things here. Obviously, I think that if we're doing very well, we might sit some starters in the last few games, so that might be losses there as well. So, like, let's say, for example, we're like, we got the number 1 seed. I could definitely see the Cardinals sit some starters in the last game or so. But, yeah, the Cowboys and the Rams, and I'm still waiting to see what the Seahawks do, honestly, if Russ comes back to see, what type of team they're going to be. So, I honestly think that losing is not bad. If we're not 17-0, I think we learn a lot more from a loss than going 17-0 and then have our chest puffed out in playoffs, because it's one and done in playoffs. So I would rather learn from a loss in this so we can see how we can, adjust. But what were you going to say, Joe? My bad.
Oh, well, I was going to mention, I just can kind of add on a little bit, with Kyler. We've seen some history of him kind of coming into a game maybe a little bit gimpy just because of maybe a tough physical game. So I think that's a possibility as well. But I think you're absolutely right. I think going into the postseason at 17-0 is kind of scary. I don't know if you really want to do that. Like for the Rams, the 2018 Rams, losing that game to the Bears was a wake-up call. Like it was earlier. It was like about week 13 or so, but Rams offense only put up 6 points, and that was a bit of a wake-up call. It's like, okay, we're not invincible. And I think that helped the Rams going into the postseason against the Dallas Cowboys and against the New Orleans Saints on the way to the Super Bowl. Of course, it didn't work out there. But, yeah, I think that you're 100% right. You do not want to go in 17-0 because then you kind of walk in like you're the man, and these other teams, if a Seattle can sneak in there, a Packers team that doesn't have everybody all 19'd up there and, stuff like that, then those teams will be coming ready to play. It's postseason, man. You cannot count out anybody.
100%, man. We will be ending the stream here. I appreciate everybody here. I just want to give a big shout out to Mark Bagley, just became a channel member today. Thank you so very much for doing that, man. That definitely means the world. Guys, we will be ending the live stream here today. That's the end of the NFC West Roundtable. We will be doing again next Tuesday on Rams Showcases or Steezy's. We'll definitely keep you updated, guys. Peace out, everybody. This was absolutely fun. Have a great rest of your day, and as always, go Cards.
Go Hawks.